get on the summit together and to know each other more deeply and to work together. And I just adore you. I love what you're all about. So another wild woman from one to the other. Woo-hoo! Let's bring Tarsh back because the audience has got some great questions for both of you. I love it. It's kind of like we've got like the dark and then we got the blonde and red. You guys almost look similar, but like different. You know, it's like almost like opposite. I love it. Okay, so lots of questions for the two of you. You both are amazing. Wendy's asked for you, Tarsh. Do you think that society are the cause of women struggling with fear to seek leadership daily? Like, do you think that society is the cause of women struggling with fear?
That's a big question. Look, I think there's so many layers to the answer of that, right? I do believe, as we touched on before, I'm a publisher. I also support women to share their stories. And one of the biggest things that comes up for a lot of my clients, actually, when you can boil it down, I call it, transitioning through the witch wound, especially when we're really talking about women standing in their power and claiming their brilliance, speaking up unapologetically. Like there was a time where that got you killed. Like, literally, that got you burned at the stake, or, many other awful ways that women have died over the centuries. So I do believe that, well, yes, that is a societal thing. It is an ancestral thing. It's, fear is stored in our genetics. It's stored in our DNA. I believe it goes back 7 generations. They've scientifically proven, that what happened to your ancestor 7 generations ago is like still in your cellular DNA, right, in your memory. So I think there's a lot of layers and nuances to that answer, and I do think societal implications, yes, have had a huge part to play, but it's like the many different ways in which that has actually impacted women, Yeah. I mean, I do think as well that like the fear response is actually not a bad thing. Like we need to have the nervous system fight, flight, or freeze response. Like that is actually an important thing, because if you are actually if you are in danger, you need to be able to activate that. So it's also our relationship to fear as well. And so there's a lot.
I like that. I like that how you said your relationship to fear, because I think you're right. I mean, it's okay to be fearful because that helps us from getting hit by a train. Like we need these kind of things. However, that type of internal fear that stops you from listening to your intuition, I think is part of the programming, which is why we're here today. Come here, Buttercup. My puppy Buttercup just came in and she's gonna we got all these people in my studio. Come here, Bubba's. This is my Bubba's. This is my other daughter here. All right, so Blair, Emily's asking, any advice on forgiving those who have hurt us?
Everyone's on their own journey, and I'm not a therapist. I'm just a professional human. And I went through my life having all this pain and suffering. And I made this decision that forgiving my father was going to be less painful than living with the pain I had every day. So I think you need to decide, is your life going to be better if you forgive this person? Do you want this person in your life? If they were to if they were to transition on to whatever's next for them, tomorrow, would you be at peace? And I think you really need to look at that relationship and see what you want to do to take care of yourself. Yeah. And for me, my decision was because I just decided to accept my dad for who he was. I decided to stop thinking about the dad I wish I had and just accept him for who he was and take the time to get to know him. So
I think that's beautiful. And because I think that's the challenge, right? Is like, because I'll be the first to say and admit, I haven't spoken to my biological father in about 15 years. From similar reasons that you had, Blair. And because of listening to even Blair, I'm like, wow, what would my life be like if I still had him in? And it's like, it's just healing those wounds. And I think we deserve to do that on every single day and to be aware of that. So ladies, thank you so much for being you. I truly appreciate it. What I'd love to ask you is if you will go inside of the chat. There's some other questions in there for you, but we've got to get to the next segment. And I know there's a big audience that's there that wants to learn more and ask more questions from you inside of the VIP and the general population chat group. So thank you so much for being you. And I am so excited for what is more to come. in our connections being wild women. Bye, you guys. Thanks, ladies. All right. So for our next segment, we're actually going to be switching it up, and I'm going to do a little Q&A with myself. So I'm going to sit here with you, and it's your chance to totally fire away in the chat. Ask me any question that you'd like. And we're going to collect some of the questions here right now. So please remember, share this first. Share this and say, oh my goodness. I don't know if you're going to say, oh my goodness, but you might say, Rhonda's getting ready to answer any questions that we have. And fire away, whether it comes to parenting or building a business, what we're up to with this network, what's going on with this wild book series that we're creating, PR, media, all of my expertise that I'm great at that I haven't even really shared here with you all. But I'm here to answer some questions for you because I want to really maintain that space that we've got to create this container. And this is your time. So share this now. And I'll be right back. I'm going to print up ready, get ready for you, and then we'll come back. See you in a minute.
I trust Rhonda with my heart. Otherwise, I don't know if it was anybody else I might have jumped on.
It was one of those little kind of ideas that sparks up and ends up becoming something huge. And you don't know it at the time, but my gut felt right.
It's just been such an incredible experience. My brand has just expanded and exploded.
Like it was just perfect. Like, and I was just like two things, like boom, right, hugging it.
I love this theme around going wild because it lets you express your authenticity.
I first met Rhonda through some mutual friends and was really just blown away at her energy and, the power that she brought into her company.
So I read Rhonda's book and I was really inspired by her story of how she left the corporate world.
And so I decided to kind of look for her, find out more. I registered for some courses and then ended up doing her VIP program. And yeah, the rest is history.
I think that Rhonda totally embraces that for all of us and has kind of given me that catalyst along the way.
The community of people that are involved there is wonderful. The support that you get from the people that are in the tribe is amazing. It's all about lifting you up and lifting your business up and not having to push another business, and really centers around what you want to do and your passion in life. And
After you're on a call with Rhonda, you're like, I can do anything, She has extreme talent and knowledge and is very resourceful when it comes to digital marketing, social media, and all that stuff, which I completely suck at.
Be wild in it. Like really just take it to the next level. We can't hold back and just allow things to happen anymore. We really have to stand up for our beliefs.
I know that in the collective, this has been an undercurrent that's been going on for a while. And the rise of the divine feminine is so needed because of the fact that we've been really unbalanced in the world.
So I do say to you, pay attention because you can be completely inspired here in this space.
Because you learn so much in there. You got all the tools you need if you want to success online, and so easy steps that everyone can do, even I that didn't know that you could even work online.
You're going to get so much out of it. If you are a businesswoman, you're going to get a lot of added credibility.
I can't say enough. I can't say enough about Rhonda. I can't say enough about the team. She puts her events on with such professionalism, and her heart goes into every single detail of the work that she does.
So I'm super grateful that I had that inspiration and encouragement for Rhonda, because otherwise I wouldn't be a podcaster heard in 56 countries today.
Ta-da! We're back. So it's super exciting. That is what I've been cooking up, and I want to invite you to be part of it. In fact, we are getting really limited on our space. So if you're like, yes, I definitely want to be in this network. I want to be part of the largest women's empowerment space to share your gifts, to attract the right people, and to showcase your work. This is the place to do it. So go right now. We're really limited on channels left. There's a number of women that have been grabbing their channel. I know Leah Steele's group You guys are like dominating right now, the amount of women that are coming forward. And then I'm going to be bringing now our celebrities. There's a number of different women that are coming into the network. So that's the cool part. Like, I'm bringing in the women that I know, and you get to be part of that. So you get to benefit from that audience and that attraction. And of course, just like having the blue tick next to you, being able to showcase that you are a verified Women Gone Wild channel, that's going to give you a lot of credibility. And the work that I do on credibility, it lifts you up. So make sure right now there is an opportunity for you to go. You'll be able to look at exactly what's happening inside the network. There's a lot of different features in there. There's 5 different features we've got. Because I'm in PR, the biggest one is the resyndicator. Like, can you imagine uploading one of your content videos and then syndicating it throughout public press releases, PR, publications, magazines, all your social media at one time? Like, that takes up about 5 people on my team. They're not losing their job, don't worry, because they're helping you. That's what's happening. But we created this type of technology that this is stuff that I've been asking for. I'm like, I need this, we need this. So if you are a content creator, influencer, we want you inside. So make sure you go right now and become a channel creator and a channel owner, because this is where now we're going to align together, and it's for women by women. So I'm going to be listening to you, and we'll be having our mastermind groups every single month on what more things that we need to do. So a lot of things more will coming from that. And remember also, on the side of your page, no matter what page you're on, we do have an opportunity for you to get that mystery box, so that you can get that box right to your doorstep. And you will be getting all of the amazing bonuses like my top courses and our 30K in 30 day, along with the recordings. So excited for you guys to get that. So make sure you grab it before, because once it's done, it's done. You won't be able to get it again. And that's a promise that I'm making. Okay, so I'm going to have a seat. Like, this is funny. Have you guys noticed this yet? No one's probably noticing this. Like, I got like this layer of pillows here because I'm pretty short. I've got my big, long, tall heels today to make me look tall, because I'm pretty short. And I sit on this chair, and I was like, felt like a little girl, like sitting in this chair. So the team was like, oh, we got to spark you up a bit. And so we got this like pillow fluff for me to sit on, so I feel a little bit taller. All right, so I'm revealing myself here. So let's do this. I am really excited to answer your questions and what some things that you have on your mind after we do this this chat together. Then I'm gonna bring on Hanalei again. We're gonna get a bit deeper, and we got a few videos as well. Danette May actually contacted us, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes before she was supposed to go on, and her team said, I'm really sorry, Danette is not well. However, we have requested and asked Danette if she'll send a video. She's a dear friend of ours. We met her here in San Diego. She's actually in the book. And she's like, I'm so super, super, super sorry. But if I can get her live tomorrow, we'll see if we can do that. However, she's going to send us a video. So we're going to bring Hanalei out after that. And, you're going to get more inspired than you ever could imagine. Okay, I'm going to go to the questions now and stop talking. All right, Jane, thanks so much for this. Jane's asking, what's the best way to use the Wild Network as part of growing my business? Well, it's a really good question, because the network itself, the great features about it is that we're going to be bringing the audience there. We're already at about 100,000 women plus, right? So any woman that has a business or a message, you being part of a channel is going to allow you to be featured, right? So we are managing the network itself. So that means any channel member, you're going to be featured on ad spots. And anyone that is searching or looking at certain content, your ad spots are going to be showing up in the appropriate space. So instead of like this push and pull marketing, like some manipulative marketing that's kind of very masculine driven, we're working with AI so that your work, your ad spots, your feature shows up when people are watching content that is similar to what you produce. So that's one thing. Second is we're going to be driving the eyeballs inside of the network. So Instagram is really cool, right? Because there's all kinds of people there. However, your channel or your profile is just your profile, right? Unless people are seeing you there, you're competing with thousands and millions of people. So what we've taken is the idea of being in a big platform like Instagram, but you being highlighted and featured and showcased, your content actually being showcased around the network, so that when someone's just coming there as a free content viewer, then you're showing up. So that's why the channels are so vital, because we're going to be bringing you where and in front of people that are looking or that are on the inside of the network. Another great feature too for your business is that I'm creating it and turning it into like masterclass. So if you have a channel, once a month, you're going to be able to showcase your masterclass. And of course, then we say, hey, network, guess what? Jane is, showing her masterclass. Come join Jane. But you're also, Jane, have your own audience that you're bringing together as well. So we're really creating an environment that allows you to expand, not you doing all the pulling, if that makes sense. And there's a lot more features, but I can talk more if others ask more questions. Thanks for that. Kathy, you raised your daughter in such a different way. Did you feel like you were fighting against culture the whole way? Such a good question, Kathy. Yeah, actually, it was a really big thing, right? We were shunned by our families, because we decided to leave San Diego and do it very unconventional. We had lost everything. So we were, we had a little bit, we sold everything, and people were like, that's so irresponsible, right? And we were told by our friends, our family, that we needed to go back and get our jobs. But we tapped right inside of ourselves. We knew what was right. We knew what we needed to do. And so, yeah, it was really challenging because, we're also bringing her into other countries and cultures that we weren't familiar with either. So because we had our family unit, we were able to really trust in each other and support each other. But there was a lot of challenges, right, throughout the time. And, we could have easily just said we're quitting. But because of that vow and being with her, and then we found that people really wanted to hear and learn from us and be part of what we were doing. And that's really what helped us stay put, is being inside of a group and a network of people that are listening and that supports you. And I think that's a big message for anyone that's in business as well, or anyone that's making decisions for their families. Just listen to yourself. Like, listen to what feels right inside. That's where the intuition comes from. And, stay true to yourself. So thanks for that one, Kathy. Jenna, what inspired you to do such a big virtual event? This has been amazing. Well, honestly, we had launched the book, and the book was doing really, really well. We had just launched it, and I actually went into the hospital. I got very infected. I was sepsis, and I literally almost died, to be honest. And I was, before I went under to have the final surgery or the surgery, I prayed and said, Creator, thank you for giving me life. Please let me wake up from this. And if I do, I will show up bigger. I will play bigger. I will be the woman that you want me to be. And I woke up, and I was actually greeted by spirits. And I mean, when I say spirits, I mean like women that had been burned at the stake, that witches and women that have been suppressed. Like, this was like, I felt like I was being greeted by, it was heavy. It was super intense. And the message was, you have to be bolder. You have to do something bigger than you've ever done before. And I thought I played pretty big. And it was like, no. And it was like, literally, you need to show up for women. Show up for women bigger. And so sure enough, didn't have time, just got out of the hospital. I'm like, I think we should run a big women's summit where I bring all of the speakers, all of the authors together, women that have experienced wild transformation stories, and create a container for other women to be heard, to support them. And then I was like, yeah, but you have to also use your wisdom and your knowledge, because women in business are, they don't know the things that you know, and you're unapproachable. I was like, oh my gosh. So what if you created something for them to get to the level that you've gotten? Which is why we just literally in the last 4 weeks decided to make this network, because I realized we could do this one time and then it kind of fades. But what if I created a community where all of us can be together, where we can have a network, where we help each other, we recommend to each other, we support each other? That's what came about. So I got inspired. It's been a big undertaking, but our team came all to, to support. And I think it's my next version of myself and the direction that we're going. So thank you for being here, certainly, and for supporting as well. I'd love to learn more deeply about you. Make sure you guys are sharing this because we're going to bring up another amazing guest, and I want to make sure that we get someone live because we're almost finished with the day. So let them know something big's coming. The 14-year-old prodigy is coming back to show us some wisdom. All right, so Patricia, thanks for this, Patricia. How do you juggle business and family when you have so much going on? It's a team. Blair mentioned it earlier. It's really about supporting and putting together the right systems and having a team of people that are engulfed in your mission. Like when you enroll people to find and feel your mission and they're aligned with you, your soul's purpose, your mission and your values in your family and in your company, everything starts to happen. And, you know, this wouldn't have happened without, like, our launch team is off the charts, right? They work with the biggest guys in the world. And I just shared my mission. And I was like, I don't know if you're still doing this or you'd even consider working with me. And they're like, Rhonda, we've known you for years. This mission is big. It needs to happen. And so without, like, there's like 15, 20 people just in my studio right now. And there's like 40 or so all over the world that are working and watching and helping and managing all this stuff. And so, yeah, it's about a team. But I tell you, I'll be honest, just 1 year ago, August, I had 8 people that were working for me. 1 year ago, 8 people. Now I've got about 55 in my company. And it's because I learned how to put people in the right place, create systems. I hired, you know, very expensive mentors and people that helped move some things for me that I couldn't do for myself. 3 years ago, I had 3, 4 employees. 5 years ago, it was just me and Brian. 6 years ago, me and Brian. 15 years ago, me and Brian. So I think that's the cool thing for people to realize is that we've all been there, and which is why I'm also really super passionate about helping women get there much sooner and showing them the right way so people aren't just investing in stuff that isn't really working, or, you know, they really don't care. They don't have their interests at heart for them. They're just selling them stuff. But that's, yeah, I think that's how it happened. You just stay focused and trust to put the systems and the people together and share your voice and your vision, and people will come on board. Betty, can you talk more about the book series and what those letters were again? And can we choose which book we'd like to be in? Thank you for asking that, because this is like, when I touch this book, I literally feel the stories of all these women, and you've met many of them over the last 3 days, like what they went through. And so what we're doing is, it was going to stop here. And of course, then I got inspired and went, wait, Diana, what if we created the Wild series? That this was the first one, right? This is the foundation, which is the Feminine Guide to Fearless Living. And then Wild, right, stands for wealth, intuition, leadership, and diversity. And what if we did a book for each one of those letters? And so Diana said, I want to be on board. And so that's the next 4 books. Wealth is, we're taking applications now. Many of you know, by the way, congrats, several of you put your application in. I'm excited to meet you. And we're going to do Wealth in April. The next summit will then, end of March. The next summit will be in April. So we're going to be doing this again in April. And then we'll be launching Intuition and Leadership and Diversity throughout the end of the year and the beginning of the next year. So yes, we are, though, taking applications for all the books. There are a number of women that want to make it on a payment plan, which is amazing because that'll help you kind of stretch it through. And then you'll learn and you'll be part of all of the experiences. Because once you're a wild woman, you're in, right? That's why all these other authors as well, they'll be in the network and you'll be meeting all of these people. So I always say, like, your network is your net worth. Like, the moment you tap in to being part of the book or the network, you know, you can just grow yourself into this network and into that net worth that is going to be available to you. So, yeah, we're really excited about that. So the next series is Wild, and then it's going to be everything from, you know, the chicken soup to the chicken sink, right? We'll do real estate. We'll do a lot of different topics, marketing and parenting, right? And it's all going to be based on the chicken soup style stories, because that's what draws people in, right? So thanks for that. Appreciate it. All right, make sure you share, because we're We want to get more people here for this last hour that we've got. I know some of you are getting tired. So hold on, I'll go talk fast. All right, last question is from Jennifer. What has been the biggest challenge you've had to overcome to succeed as a business owner? I'd probably say the biggest challenge I've had, I have some tea. It's one of my favorite things these days. The biggest challenge I've had as especially a woman business owner is not being taken seriously and doing all the heavy lifting. You know, like we want to prove stuff to people and we just go a bit harder, and instead of like following our lane. And, you know, like this was a big deal. We had a lot of big people that we were asked to market for us or be affiliates. And they at first didn't take me seriously. But what happens is when you keep showing up and you show up and you do something like this and you show up that you're going to do something big, they then start to listen. So I think the biggest challenge has been just not being taken seriously, but then showing up as hard as I could and as best as I could in my best self. And then saying, okay, now you kind of can't ignore me, right? And I think that's something that sometimes women, you know, we stop and we use our plan B, which sometimes could be your partner, it could be a job, just knowing there is no plan B. And even though if plan A fails, because I've had many plan A's fail, I've lost everything twice just in the last 15 years. You know, I've almost died. Literally reinvented myself many times, and I've been almost, you know, been blackmailed, been judged, been told, you know, something that I'm not. And all I did is just get really clear with who I am. Who is Rhonda now? Who does Rhonda want to be for the world? What is my gift that I can contribute to the world? And just stay in that lane. Be that person, whether people like you or not, because their opinions are none of my business, you know? And just knowing when you do that and you're in your truest, authentic self, people will come to rise, to support. They'll come, they want to work with you. They want to be part of your world. So hopefully that answered your question. But what I want to do now, please, thank you. Well, I'll, you know, if you put up some questions, I'll pop into the group as well. All right, so coming up next is going to be Hanalei again. And I'm excited for her to close out the day. She's going to really blow you away. If she didn't already, we're going to talk about some topics that are really important. So if there's some special topics that you want us to touch on, you can put them in the comments, and my team will make sure they come here, because Hanalei was bullied. She did have and has dealt with and seen, you know, this objectification of feminine and what girls are trying to be like on Instagram and all these things, right? She's done it. She's been part of it. And so we're going to bring Hanalei out in a second. But before that, we're going to share with you a video about Hanalei went to India, and she learned that there was young girls that were being taken out of school and being raped, sold, married off early, and she wanted to make a difference. And she partnered up with a beautiful other brand, and they went to India. And this is her voice sharing what her mission is as a fashion designer, as a human being. So watch that, and please make sure that you share. Let's get more people here to learn from Hanalei, and let's close up the day right. Okay, let's watch this movie.
In the world. I want to change the way people think about possibility, living their passion and giving back to the world around us. should be an extension of your values and beliefs. My mission is simple. When you wear fashion, why not choose a brand that makes you feel unstoppable and that helps children in need?
Yeah, right? That gets you in a space, doesn't it? And so really happy to have Hanalei back. Please make sure again that you share and bring people here. So Hanalei, when you see that was just a couple years ago. That was like, what, 3 years ago that you and Dad went?
Yeah, like roughly 3 years ago.
Yeah, and you partnered with Nalu Clothing, which is really good friends of ours here in Bali. I'd like to ask you though, like how did you feel? You went to India. That's not, the most, it's a bit of a challenging space. Like what did you feel like when you were meeting these young girls and thinking about like their life and what could have happened to them? And then we'll share what you did.
Yeah, one thing that I always aimed to do and something that I always wanted to do no matter what is like I feel very fortunate for the things I get to have. Mm-hmm. I feel very fortunate to be able to say I was like raised in this space with you and like be able to travel and be able to experience so many things and open to so many new ideas. And one thing I always strive to do is whenever something good happens to me or whenever I have something good going on in my life, I want to send that love to other people who may not have it as fortunate as me. And from a young age, that has always been a mindset of mine is if I have something that I can share, I will share. And that could be spending time with people, that could be giving back to different communities. If there's people that could be less fortunate or may not have all the opportunities I get to have, I want to share those opportunities with them.
Yeah, so when you started your company, you said, I want to start giving back, and you created the Shirt for Shirt, right?
Yeah.
And this is what and then we also are giving to the kids in India. So tell me, how did that feel for you to meet these young girls? Because their lives are quite different than yours.
One thing that I noticed was no matter how, like we can look at them and say, oh, I feel so sorry for them that they get to live like this.
Well,
or,
what happens to them?
Let me,
Right.
I know how to speak. I got you. Like, you've taught me for so many years.
Dynamics. I'm interviewing you, miss.
Dude. So anyways, we can look at their life and say, oh, I feel so bad for them. Oh, like, I wish they had a better life. But really, like, going there, I saw the most happy kids I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. Like, having nothing interfere apart from just the joy of being able to have the opportunity of going to school, being able to have the opportunity to learn. I saw their eyes light up when we were able to give these school uniforms. And it was such a beautiful opportunity because what is
the age?
So with school uniforms, it was around like anywhere from 6 years old to like that was the youngest we gave, all the way to like around 15, 14.
Because at 13, the girls, the reason why did you guys end up doing it? Because they would have to drop out of school, is that right?
Yeah, so what happens is in India, by the age of 13, you have to start paying for your school uniforms to be able to go to school. And if you don't have a school uniform, you are not allowed to attend school anymore. And so it's like a big thing for people and families in poverty that cannot afford these school uniforms because it's almost a liability for their child. Like, we need to pay for these uniforms. Like, why would we want to when we can have them work in our farm or get put to work from a young age, have them be put to use instead of just learning. And so they don't value the education as much as they do, okay, they can help us make more money. And
right,
so,
but it increases like child pregnancies, all of these things, right?
So the biggest thing is with kids who have to drop out of school because they can't afford a school uniform, with young girls especially, this increases teenage pregnancy. Yeah. This is a lot of like not being protected. School there is
Abuse.
almost a space of protection for them. It's a space where they have teachers that can keep them safe instead of having them out on the streets with possibly being able to get killed, any of these things, raped, all these insane things. And so we want to make sure that the kids of our future and of our next generation, they can have a safe space to be able to be protected, where they can learn and where they can put themselves up to an opportunity of doing what they love and finding passion within learning. Because once you find that love for learning, you can grow so much faster and you can expand your mind instead of being kept in this, okay, I need to be a farmer or I need to be stuck with my family. If you can learn and if or married off at a young age.
It just makes my stomach sick to even consider, even at, your age, all of a sudden a grown-up man, like that just blows my mind. And that's
and it's still very prominent in our day-to-day life.
Many different cultures, right? And so we support a lot of these different cultures, and we support these projects to help these young women just grow up as a young kid. And so let me ask you, there's a couple of questions that are coming through, but what do you see right now on social media? What do you see that's being portrayed to the youth right now, and how do you want to help change that?
I think social media has, since I've grown up with it, it's all I really know. You have been able to grow up without social media as a young kid, but we're almost kind of an experiment right now because we don't really know how social media works on child growth and how they're going to be in the next 20 years, having it affect their mind. I feel like social media is great in so many ways, but it's also such a detriment to how we work and how we function. I feel like growing up, you almost have two forms of yourself: the person that you portray outwards and the person you portray to your friends or things like that. And it almost creates this separation between yourself, where how do I want to present myself to people? If you make a mistake, when you were a kid, let's say you were making just goofing off and you made a mistake and it was something small, but still you made a mistake. Now on social media, so many more people can see it. So if I, who has a platform or something like that, if I made a mistake, thousands of people are going to see it instead of two friends or something.
Do you think that's created insecurities?
Totally.
In what kids are seeing and how girls are growing up?
I think that the way how we portray the female figure, especially in modern day social media, and the expectations we put onto our bodies and the sexualization we get from anything from things on Instagram to blog posts to just people sexualizing themselves even, it is disgusting. And I feel like kids nowadays are having to grow up so much faster than they were in the past because all of our role models are the people who are not our age, who are women who are showing off, because what gets more clicks? When you show more skin. What gets more views? When you show and expose yourself. And that's a terrible thing, is that we are using our bodies now to get more views, to get more clicks. And it's terrible because when young girls see that, these girls are getting attention because they're dressing a certain way or they're acting like this, they're going to want to start doing that because that's how we learn. We learn from others, and we have a connection that we build with these creators online. We have these parasocial connections where it feels like we know them because they're speaking to a camera, they're talking to us, but we don't know them. We only know the persona that they give off. So it's this false sense of relationship that we show, and it's this space of when someone talks to you online, as in a video or something, they're portraying how you're going to grow up. They're being a role model to you without you even knowing it at times. And so you want to start acting like them. It's like your favorite characters in a TV show, but they're real people. And so we put these high expectations and pedestals on these creators, on these people who have large amounts of followers, big numbers attached to their name. We put them on pedestals to view them as bigger people. And that's so
what are you doing then on your social to change that?
I want to, with social media, I want to make it a space where I can spread positivity, I can spread love, where people can feel comfortable to be themselves. I've always stood for inspiration and being able to inspire our next generation of especially young girls to be themselves and not change for anyone else, not change for views, not change for clicks, not change for anyone apart from them. And so I just want to inspire the next generation to be able to take action on what they love and really just show that you can be authentic. You can show your true self.
Yeah, I mean, I do hair and makeup. I get all spoofed up. You're like, nope, no hair and makeup for me. I'm doing my thing. But you even did that with your models. Like when you had your fashion show, your models were natural, right? Like, this is a value that you hold within yourself, and I learned from you for that. But there's a couple questions. Yay! So people are like really going wild again. Please continue to share this, everyone, because we're going to answer some questions now. So Linda, thank you. She's asking, how have you both handled your lives being so public online as Hale grows up?
So I would,
you didn't like it for a while.
Yeah, so growing up, I've always kind of had a camera in my face. And I would say that
it is true.
Like,
but we didn't know back then, Hanalei.
No,
that was before it was about clicks. It was for Granny and Papa,
Mom,
so we could show.
You don't have to make yourself right. There's no reason to. I'm just gonna be authentic and say what I want to say.
We love Facebook memories. Okay, you tell me.
So what my whole thing is, I've grown up with a camera in my face my entire life. Everything has been documented, and everything has just been shared. And my view on it is like, it's incredible for memories.
Yeah.
I love documenting things because I want to be able to remember. One day if I can't remember a certain moment, I want to be able to look at something and remember the exact colors the sky were. Remember the exact texture of the grass and be able to visualize that. But at the same time, I feel like it gives us such a disconnect from reality. And it gives us such a disconnect where we are in our screens constantly. Yeah. And I'm not saying I'm like the Messiah and I don't look at my phone. Of course I look at my phone all the time. Yeah. But like...
Well, that did have a downfall too. You didn't love it when you were growing up because your kids made fun of you.
Yeah, because I had a time where like I was in school and we were having like IT or something, and a kid pulled up on their iPad and connected it to the projector a video of me as a baby, and they all started laughing at me. And it was like a really weird moment because that was a moment where I'm like, why is half my life online?
Yeah, I remember that.
And so there's so many good things about it where I can have documentation and I can share my story and I can like grow up and see my life in the future. But at the same time, it's like something that kind of hurt me at times, where that made me feel my most insecure. Yeah. And that's when I didn't want to present my truest self on camera because I didn't want people to make fun of me.
Yeah, so. I mean, this is real, you know. I mean, we have dealt with this, and you know, because you know, Brian and I were kind of supporting, and she's speaking on stage and doing all these things, and then we had started to realize, like, you are an introvert, right? Hanalei's an introvert. Yeah. But she was so dynamic on stages, and she was being invited, and then we realized, like, we had to start creating a protective space for you. Remember, we created, we called it Meow Time, remember? And I know it sounds silly, but she was young, and she's on stage speaking in front of thousands of people, but they all wanted her energy. They all wanted to be around her, right? Yeah. And
especially, like, being around a lot of people, like, I am a heavy introvert. I need my space if I want to reground, if I want to be able to be at my finest, I want my own space. And so traveling and being around people constantly, it was amazing for new opportunities, new visions, new things, and new stories. But at the same time, it was overwhelming a lot. And there came a few points where I'm like, is there something wrong with me? I would be in heavy crowds, and after speaking, I would just get so overwhelmed and almost have these anxiety or panic attacks that kind of just ruined how I feel and how I felt. And it was something where I wanted to stop doing speaking for the longest time. For a year, I took a break from being on stages or speaking because everything just became overwhelming at a really young age. And there was a lot of pressure that I felt like I put onto myself. And it was a difficult time, but one thing I'm learning is being able to find balance and take time for myself.
And you've been sharing it with Dad and I too,
Yeah.
and that helped us start to understand.
The most important thing is, especially when you're overwhelmed, and something that I learned is taking time for yourself. Remembering that you don't need to give your all the time, because when you try helping others, I feel I'm very empathic, so I want to like help people, I want to make people feel good, I want to put people before myself. But you realize that you hurt yourself so much more when you don't give yourself time to breathe, when you don't give yourself time to relax, when you're putting people above yourself at every moment, you start to suffocate. And it starts to hurt you way more than if you were just to take a break.
Yeah.
And you can help so many people when you help yourself first.
Such big advice. Last question, though, is I want to ask you is, you're really big about inclusion. Tomorrow's Diversity Day, right? It's about our differences. And you are, you're very supportive in the LGBTQIA. Like, I'm learning every day, you know, like seriously, she's so supportive in the, and I'm learning, right? And about inclusion and about our diversity. What do you think? I know there's some messages that you have for parents today for helping them cope with their kids just being allowed to be themselves.
Yeah.
You know?
I think self-expression is really important, and being able to have an outlet to express yourself is very important. Sometimes it can feel hard to speak my emotions, and sometimes it can feel hard to express how I feel. So using outlets like creating artwork or writing, those are ways how I feel like I can express and give an outlet to how I feel. And I think if anyone could take away anything, is it's learning to find outlets to let yourself free. Because when we bottle up our emotions and when we bottle up how we feel, it will spill over. And we can be so much more balanced when we work with how we feel instead of just stuffing it and like compacting it. And so I think inclusion is so important for self-expression. And I think that once we learn that we are all equal, but we are all equally different, that is so perfect. And when we can respect each other, no matter if we don't understand.
Yeah, I know. And I thank you, because it's like some good advice. I mean, there are kids right now that they are who they are, right? And I know that you've even helped some friends of ours like get through on things that are changes with their children, or they're young, you know, like they're identifying with different, right? Different, you explain how you explain it, because I'm really not great at explaining it, but Hanalei helped me really view something, right? Like, and accepting people and helping parents like accept their kids for maybe if they are become gender fluid or, transgender, or maybe they are gay, or they identify themselves as a they, them. Like, these are new things that are happening in my generation, Hanalei. And
yeah. I think that when you guys, I will say it, and this isn't to be rude or anything, but you are in an older generation. Your generation doesn't have as much modern mindsets as the new way of thinking, you know? And this isn't to be rude or anyone who is older. I'm just saying that there's a lot of things that we can teach and we can learn. And something that I see that's really sad with a lot of older generations is they're blocking themselves from learning from younger people because there's a sense of shame that washes over them when they aren't willing to, like, oh, this person is younger than me. I have more knowledge than them. I have more years. I can't learn from them. And they're stuffing themselves from having new knowledge. And I think that I think that once we learn to be more inclusive and open our minds to new way of thinking, for no matter how old you are, what year you're in, like any of these things, once you open your mind to new communities, new things, and just be accepting, like, we're realizing more than ever that there's more people that are different, that there's more unique people. And back in the day, there was so much more racism. Yeah. Like, of course, there's still so much racism, but there wasn't as much inclusion. Yeah. And there was hate crimes against people who were Black, who were gay, who were of different races. And I think when we learn that we can be in a community and when you learn to share love to others instead of hate, that is so important. And just knowing that everyone is different and we have to respect every single person, because otherwise they can't be their true self. And when we stop them from having that self-expression, that's when they start to lose their light. And that's when a lot of things like mental illness, depression, anxiety, like when we stop those ways how we can express and how we can share ourselves, we start to develop these illnesses because we cannot deal or we cannot cope with those expression. So just being more welcoming, just be cool to people, okay? Just like
do
just
cool
be a cool
things.
person.
Yeah. What does Michael Franti say? What does he say? Be nice to people. Just work hard and be nice to people. We love Michael Franti. He lives here in Bali. We love him. All right, Mary asked a really cool question too. What advice do you have for parents helping their children cope with social media?
What advice do I give to parents coping with social media?
To parents helping their children cope with social media, like them.
Oh, right, yeah. I think learning to
how to manage it. Well, we put that in your book, actually. That's right. We talked about how to do that.
Yeah, but also like
Hanalee's book's on Amazon now. Oh, that's new.
Yay,
surprise! Hanalee's book she wrote when I had no idea. We were 8. She was 8, and we launched when she was 10. What was it called?
How to Be and Raise an Unstoppable
How to Be
Kid.
and Raise an Unstoppable Kid. And we did talk about social media and how to put limits and expectations, right?
Yeah. I just think that there's a lot of things that with kids, how they are learning to use social media and how they're handling it. And sometimes kids don't always express that or don't always share what they're going through. And so I think when you think... I think it's always being open to communicate with your kids and never like
don't hide it.
Yeah. You know, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to think right now.
No, but it's true though, because we were very open with her because there was a lot of judgment, like should Hanalee be on social media? But we talked about responsible ways of being on social media, and it wasn't about looking at others and trying to be like them. It was about sharing her message that she had, and we monitored it. We still monitor Hanalee's social media, and it said, parent managed account, and, we would always check she never checked any messages. She wasn't allowed to respond to them in Messenger because, you do want to protect their mind and protect people because there are weirdos in the world. However,
I also don't think that you should stop your kid from using social media as well.
Then they're going to hide.
Because, so when you say, like, you're managing all these things, like, one thing, social media is a whole new world, and the younger generation probably understands it way more than our older generation because we have grown up with it and we have learned from it. But that's still understanding that like social media is almost like a new world, and that it's a way of communicating, it's a way of interacting, and stopping your kid from using it I think can be even more harmful because then it's with friends and it's like it can be harmful to each other, and I'm not sure. I'm just trying to think. It's
but
a
that's
question.
Okay. You can always go back into this chat group as well, because Jane asks, do you feel like you're different from other kids, and how do you actually handle that?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I'm different from other kids.
You're like, ooh.
I had a while where I didn't really like who I was because I thought I was different, and I thought, wow, I am just weird, or I just don't think as other kids, or I just didn't feel as smart. And so I feel like I'm definitely different, but it's coming to terms to seeing it from a different perspective. Like before I felt that different was a negative word, and that it was something that's just like, oh, I'm different, like, oh, I feel weird.
Yeah, you're not like everyone else.
I'm not like everyone else.
That?
But it's also, you can see things through so many different perspectives of, oh, I'm different from someone else, or oh, I'm different.
Yeah.
Like our uniqueness, our beauty is in our uniqueness, and our beauty is from being unique. Not being the same as everyone else is like an incredible thing.
Yeah.
And being able to be unique, have your own story, have your own message, have your own way you look. That is what makes us special.
But it was a reality, though. She was she was feeling like she was different. You were, being judged and you were having a hard time. And like, I would go, oh, how do I show them this? And you've got this company. And she's like, stop talking about it. Don't show them it. Because there is a factor of judgment, right? And it doesn't matter how confident you are, there's always a factor of what are they going to think about me or being judged. And I think that's real. That's a real experience that every kid should see, that it's okay. I'm still judged too. But like your chapter, Hanalei wrote a chapter in this book. If you guys haven't gotten the mystery box, I'm just telling you now because this is one of the gifts, the 5 that are in there. And Hanalei's chapter is in there. And you talk about that.
Yeah.
You talk about your chapter number 2 after me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you get a bit deep on your story and how, you had all these things going on in your life. And I think, and your artwork, Hanalei actually drew the artwork.
Yeah, I did. I made the little cover piece before my chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, it was about what do you want to be now, so you guys can get to read her chapter in there.
This chapter was, it was an amazing thing to write because at first I'm like, I don't really want to write it, or I just didn't feel inspired. And it came down to, we ended up writing it together. It came down to a crunch of like 2 days before we had to put it in the book.
Because we had help from a ghostwriter, and Hanalei was like, no.
And I read it, and I'm like,
this.
I read what another person wrote of trying to interpret my story, and I'm like, this is not me. I do not feel good putting this out to the world. And so we literally spent a day crunching an entire book chapter.
We rocked it.
And it turned out incredible. So I'm very proud of it. And in the chapter, I speak about my way how I've grown up, my perspective without any boundaries of like feeling uncomfortable to share. Like, this is all about learning to adapt with change, and how change has been one of the best lessons in my entire life, because when there's so much going around you, and there's so much changing, you can't sit there and think, oh, why is this all happening? You can't ponder all these things. You have to take action and take that leap into the unknown. You have to find comfort in the uncomfortable. And so this is all about how I learn to find comfort in the uncomfortable and learn to take steps and actions towards growing and towards stepping out of my comfort zone. And I think that is such an important story to share.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, you can, of course, get the book.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful.
If you want to read it.
Yeah. One more question.
You can get the book right now if they put it on the site.
Oh, Dad actually said that they put the Amazon book. Some people are like, can I just get the book? Yes, you can go get the book. Oh, you can get Hanalei's too. Hanalei's book is also on there.
Yeah.
The How to Be and Raise an Unstoppable Kid. It's unbelievable. It was never on Amazon because you illustrated the whole book. We've got a copy somewhere. I can bring it out in a minute.
I illustrated it when I was like 40
pages.
9.
She illustrated the whole book. She was like 7 and 8. And it took so long to get on Amazon because it was so deep and rich in color, but it's finally there. Well, there's one more last question, and then we have a very special surprise video from a very special celebrity that knows you very, very well, that was just flying from Tahoe to Switzerland. She sent you a video, and we're going to play that. But Jenny asked, my kids have wanted to support businesses, start businesses, but I'm not sure how to support them. Where is a good place for them to start?
I think one of the best lessons is learning to start small and grow big. How I started originally was I only started with like $20, and I started making little keychains of little figures, and I started telling a story. I think one of the best things is start finding goals.
Mystery Dad wants it.
I think one of the best things is starting to like set a goal, like, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? How big do you want to take this? And if it's something as small as I just want to sell lemonade or do something small, just realize that they can grow so grand and they can go so big. It's just learning to support. But
it also gives a lesson in teaching them like how to build and grow a business. So Hanalei borrowed $20 from us, and she said, this is why. And then she started selling things. She paid us the $20 back, and then she started to sell. We all then made an opportunity. She learned about margins because one day at an event, she sold $1,600 worth of all of her new designs. And I was like, ew. And you're like, why are you taking that? I was like, because there's expenses and costs. And then we like made it into a big lesson, and you learn that, yeah, you might have $1,600 in your hand. However, the workers, the fabric, the margits are.
Even after the book, they can still get the video series too.
Okay, cool. So yeah, Hanalei also did a course as well. Dad's, he's our promoter. Dad's like, don't forget to tell them they can get Hanalei's course. And she did this course when she was like 8 or 9. Okay, so there's a really special video. I want you guys to watch it. She's a very special woman. In fact, she is a 2-time gold medalist in snowboarding. She's like a 15-time X Games gold medalist. And she was our neighbor when we lived in South Lake Tahoe, and Hanalei was about 3 or 4. You used to make her cupcakes. And then you had an opportunity to do what 2 years ago?
We ended up visiting her in the X Games, and it was a really incredible experience
Yeah.
to be able to go to the X Games.
Yeah, and you styled her. She's got all of her Hanalei's collections that Hanalei did. And we didn't even talk about Hanalei's collections today. But Jamie Anderson, Olympic gold medalist, has a message for you, babe. And for you, ladies. Let's roll it.
Hi everyone, my name is Jamie Anderson. I am sending this video from Switzerland, and I just wanted to connect with this amazing group of women. I met Hanalei when she lived in Tahoe with her amazing Unstoppable family, and I've always really admired her and her mom Rhonda. And they came and visited me at the X Games. Little background, I'm a professional snowboarder and 2-time Olympic gold medalist, and I'm from a family of 8. I have 5 sisters, so the women have always been a big inspiration in my life. I have an amazing mother, and I feel now more than ever women just need to come together, and we need to support each other to believe in ourselves and know that we're capable than more than we can even believe. And I think by surrounding ourselves with positive, like-minded women, it's only going to help everyone raise up. So thank you, Hanalei and Rhonda, and this amazing Women's Summit. I wish I could be there, and I hope to come in the future, but I send you nothing but love. Much gratitude. Cheers.
Love her. She's so awesome. How cool is that? She said it to us last night. She's like, I'm sorry. She wanted to be one of the guests, but she was flying to Switzerland. So she sent that video to us. But so super powerful. So thank you, Hanalei, for being here. You are such an inspiration to me every day into the world. Why don't you just hang tight and we'll close it up. Just a minute, everyone. But we have one more special video as well. But I have some shout outs in a moment to really welcome those of you that fill out the application, that got the mystery box, all that great stuff. There's so many of you that are really wanting to be part of this Wild Women, and there's so many ways you can be part of this Women Gone Wild experience, especially part of the book. We're going to be offering the application again tomorrow, and then we're going to start going through each and every application, reaching out to you, interviewing you, finding out who should be one of the Wild Women that will work directly with Diana Wentworth, learning how to write a chicken soup sole, and shoot for a New York Times bestseller. That's going to be one of the biggest elements that we're going to focus on this next year. But Gloria Steinman, if you don't know who Gloria Steinman is, she is one of the top women advocates for women empowerment. And she also wanted to send us a very clear video on supporting women, and I shared with her the book, and she was super impressed and inspired. And so we're going to run that really quick video, and then I'm going to wrap it up for all of you. Just a moment.
Dear Rhonda, I so congratulate you on the launch of your book, Women Gone Wild. As an author myself, I understand how easy it is to put off writing, how hard it is to actually get it done. So I think it's a huge, huge, huge accomplishment, and I thank you for it. The world needs this movement, and I love the title, Women Gone Wild. It clearly needs your book. We've been civilized for too long. Civilization has not been our friend. Women Gone Wild is a great title.
How cool is that, right? Wow, look her up. The woman has done amazing work in the world. And isn't it like, this is what I get goosebumps, because I'm like thinking about all of you that are here and all of these women that are supporting and what we're creating and being part of a book, being part of a network. Like, this is the family that I want to be around. This is what I want my daughter to be part of, right? Hanalei is going to be part of our network. And like, you can be able to have your kids come and see, Hanalei's content, not on social media. See, this is the thing, like, this is why we want to create this. And because now you can bring your kids to learning from other women, and you can as well. And this is part of this growing energy of what this Women Gone Wild movement's about. The book, being part of the book is about, and being part of our network. Because imagine when women come together, our magic, this actually really happens. Magic happens within us. So imagine yourself now, like stepping into your power, sharing your voice, being part of the largest women's online summit ever next March, next April, saying, I am an author of one of the biggest selling books in the world, right, for women empowerment, because that's already happening. Like, imagine being one of the first women to be in this book and to share your story, and then to come on stage and talk about it like these women have done for the last 3 days. Like, this is the element that we want to create for you. So if you're not ready to be an author, but get inside and be part of the network, right? Be part of it, showcase yourself, because I'm going to help bring the energy for you and to you, because that's my superpower. It's expanding everyone's brands, doing things so big that you will probably never imagine doing for yourself. Because we will be hosting a Women Gone Wild event very soon once everything opens up here in Bali, and I want you to be there. So again, this has been an amazing close of Leadership Day. I cannot wait to see all of you tomorrow. The final day is Diversity Day. We've got some unbelievable women that are coming to be part of this event tomorrow. And so I want to give the shout outs to those of you who's decided to jump into the Wild Network. Take a step with the book or grab the mystery box. Sandra, Cliff, Lynn, Yvonne, Pedro, Donna, Simone, Taryn, Barbie, Veronica, Gina, Jehan. I know Leah. There's so many amazing women that are part of this. And this was just today. So be part of it. Come inside. We do have limited spots. Applications are taking priority with the book. And also, of course, the network channels, they will be limited. I think we probably only have 10 spots left for the next 2 days. So this is your time to get inside, to be part of the biggest launch of the largest women's network that's ever been created. But either way, you're here and you're creating history. All right, Wild Women, it's time to wrap up. What a day it's been. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. My heart is full after today's performances. Truly inspiring message and more. Women who have decided to go wild. We've got a live singer tomorrow. Her name is Desi from Desi World. You can look her up on Instagram. She's going to blow you away. So make sure you come early and stay late. Bye, everyone. Be unstoppable and stay wild.
This past year, as we found ourselves closed off from the world and from each other, a book was being written by a small group of wild women. That book inspired the manifesto that gave birth to a movement. Imagine an emotionally charged letter of gratitude from one struggling anonymous woman to another anonymous woman who'd mentored her and awakened the wildness within her without even realizing it. One wild woman awakening another wild woman, inspiring her to believe when she'd almost given up, to let loose her wildness and step into her true power. Being a wild woman means to lead fearless, to love fearless, to live fearless, to be kind, thoughtful, driven, and balanced, to embrace honest wealth, to trust our intuition, to develop true leadership, and to welcome diversity. We are Women Gone Wild. Come be wild with us.